Yo, what up, everybody? My name is Drake Demore from the Win City Sports Podcast, and this episode of Cedric Ben's Combat Quarter is brought to you by the Win City Sports Podcast. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere podcasts are found, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or directly on wincitysports.com. Smell you later.
What up, what up? Welcome back to the Cedric Sports Combat Corner, number 11. I am your host, Cedric Ben. Today on the Triple C's podcast, we're going to go through a post-fight analysis of UFC 242, specifically the boxing portion of the last three matches of the card. The second topic will be the BTF boxing training focus of the week. And this week's focus is I'm going to talk a little bit on how to deal with an aggressive fighter. And the third quick topic will be just to give you guys 3 quick YouTube videos that you can go to and study on how to deal with an aggressive fighter. One of the ways to deal with them. All right, starting with the first one. Islam Makhachev versus Davy Ramos. Islam won this one. Pretty sure it was unanimous. And he just kept it simple with some straight punches right down the middle, arms at full extension, which kept his opponent away from him. Davy Ramos displayed very limited boxing skills. His main offensive weapon was just like an overhand right, not even a straight right, but like a looping overhand right. So Islam just did what he, kept it safe and kept it smart by just keeping it at that full distance. That was the main story of that match. Islam just controlled him from that distance, and Ramos simply didn't have the skills to do anything about it. So my boxing advice to each guy: Islam, just keep doing your thing. Make sure that the defense for defending those straight punches is just as good as your offense, which is, catching and slipping, blocking, of course, but if you can make the person miss, that'll make them tired. So catching and slipping, and as we mentioned, of course, blocking. I'm not sure how good his defense is, because he didn't really have to use it, because Ramos didn't give him anything, that he had to worry about. So just, in your training, just make sure that you're focused on making sure the defense is just as good as that offense. Now for Mr. Ramos, Davy Ramos, just simple, man. Work on fundamental boxing skills. Like, you got to master the fundamentals. Not just, he reminds me, he looks like one of those guys that's probably won most of the street fights in his life, and is that confidence in his one-punch knockout power that he thinks he can use it at the highest level. But at the highest level, when guys are good at everything, you can't just rely on that. So fundamental boxing skills, keep it simple, straight punches, and just a general knowledge of combination punches, of putting punches together. There was a few times where he literally just ran forward, swinging his arms, like not even staying in his boxing stance. Again, that can work at the lower levels, but at the highest level, that you get exposed. So work on fundamental boxing skills. Okay, and the next match was Edson Barbosa versus Paul Felder. I thought it was very good boxing displayed by both guys. I've seen this guy Barbosa fight a couple times before. He's very good at fighting, moving backwards and using his lateral movement while still landing accurate punches. Felder did a good job of cutting off the ring, or cage, I should say. He did a good job of cutting off the cage as he was coming forward on Barbosa. Felder won the match. Barbosa, he definitely threw more than Felder, but Felder's punches were more effective. Felder, this is my first time seeing him fight. He looks like one of those guys that doesn't mind taking 2 to give you one of his. And if you're fighting a tough guy like that, you need to make sure that your accurate punches are hard as well as accurate, just so you can at least slow the person down. Even if you don't stop them, some guys just have that extra toughness. They don't mind taking 2 to give 1, as I said. But if you make those punches count just a little bit more, even if they still want to come forward, it's at least going to make them hesitate or slow them down to give you a chance to still do your work from a distance. And that was the result there. The one nice thing that I took away from this match was a 2-punch combination that Felder tried to throw a couple of times. It wasn't successful, but if he would have landed it, so I'm not sure if he did it on purpose or he was just throwing it, but if it would have landed, it would have done some damage. Specifically, and it's 2 punches that I think every MMA fighter and boxer could take advantage of. The 2 punches is pretty simple. It's just from an orthodox stance, you would be throwing a left uppercut to the ribs and right hook to the chin or overhand right. Left uppercut to the body, overhand or hook to the chin. Now, those 2 punches are pretty straightforward on how to throw them. The hard part is how and when to throw them. Now, let me explain. Follow me. In MMA, you have to learn kickboxing. And part of the defense for kickboxing, as far as punches to your head, is keeping your hands by your ears with your elbows pointed forward, which covers more space for it to block the kicks, which is different from a boxer's defense, which is keeping your hands more closer to your cheeks with your elbows pointed towards the floor, which covers more of your body to block the body shots. Now, from my observation from watching UFC, and again, I'm coming from a boxer's perspective. From my observation from watching MMA guys, whenever some type of fire is coming at their head, most of the time the number one reaction is the kickboxing defense with the hands by the ears, elbows pointed forward, which is understandable because kicks are a lot harder than punches. So if that's your first reaction is to block for a kick, I can understand that. The only problem is that with those elbows that high, it leaves your body wide open. And if you're facing another MMA fighter that has a boxer's mentality, they're going to take advantage of that and step in with that left uppercut, exactly what Felder was doing. Step in with a left uppercut to the body and then right hook to the chin. Because no matter how tight you keep your hands up, anybody gets touched at the right spot to the body, your automatic reaction is to drop those hands just a little bit to cover up, which just leaves your chin a little bit open. And it's hard. It's a little bit harder with big boxing gloves. With those 4-ounce MMA gloves, it's a little bit easier to slide that hand right to the chin with just a little bit of daylight. So left uppercut to the body, right hook to the chin. So again, so I always tell the MMA guys that I work with, make sure you're comfortable with both defenses. The kickboxing defense and the boxing defense with the elbows down. And even further than that, that's why it's even more important to study your opponent. Study your opponent. See if they have a kickboxing background or a boxing background to see what most likely they would be throwing. Studying your opponent. All right, now for the main event, Khabib versus Dustin Poirier. This guy Khabib is just simply a monster, man. Simply a boxer's worst nightmare. Well, all MMA guys' worst nightmare, but specifically for boxers, a lot of people think a kickboxer would be a boxer's worst nightmare, but a wrestler would be. Once you could have all the hand speed and good footwork in the world, once Khabib gets a hold of you, and specifically him, because sometimes I see other guys that I hear are good wrestlers. They take their opponent down. I can still see their opponent get up and sometimes fight back good and win. But specifically Khabib, once he gets a hold of you, he's just simply on another level when it comes to this. When he gets a hold of you, that wrestling stuff. Undefeated, lost very few rounds. Yeah, just simply a monster. The one or two bright spots that Dustin did have, I believe it was 30 seconds into the second round, he landed a good straight right hand at full extension that landed right on Khabib's chin. Khabib was visibly hurt. Unfortunately, Poirier couldn't take advantage of it. Khabib did a good job of getting out of the way using his lateral movement. I believe if Poirier tried to cut off the cage a little bit better instead of just running to fall and following him around in a circle, he could have took more advantage of that situation when Khabib was hurt. Poirier did throw some good straight punches when he did throw them, nice and accurate, but definitely was not enough. It was not enough to stop the aggressiveness from Khabib from coming forward or even hesitate from coming forward. At one point, Khabib he led with a right uppercut, left hook. And for like to have that much confidence just to come at someone with a right uppercut from an orthodox stance, which leaves your face that much more exposed, shows that, you didn't take advantage of that situation from a distance. That's what you need to do, from a distance. Make that person have to walk through something to get to you. And that was just the story there. As soon as Khabib got a hold of him, it was just game over. Choked him out in the third round. Now, for the second topic, the BTF boxing training focus of the week. And this ties into the main event. How to deal with an aggressive fighter. What you can try to do at least. Again, Khabib is just on a different level, but what you can try to do to keep him off you is what gave Poirier a little bit of success in that second round was you have to make that person walk through fire to get to you. Even if you know they're that good at coming forward and eventually you might get taken down, at least make them have to work to get to you. Make them walk through fire to get to you. You can't just stand there. You can't just stand there and look and wait for the person to make the first move so you can try to counterattack that. You can't hesitate against someone that wants to really come forward and aggressively at you. You can't wait. Even if you want to be the counter puncher, you have to start something to make them throw so that you can counter punch that. Right? Not just standing there. You have to be first at a distance. And I don't mean not combinations coming forward, because coming forward is doing exactly what they want you. You don't have to bring yourself closer to the person, but keeping those long straight punches at a distance. Now, if they get past those long straight punches, then you can sit down and work on, let them walk into a hook or uppercut. That's a whole different story. Sit down, let them walk in right on the chin, put the weight on your back leg for that hook, or weight out right onto the front leg with that uppercut, right? But you have to be first. You got to let them walk through something. They don't just give them the confidence that they can just walk you down. No one should be able to just walk you down. Remember that. Yeah. All right. And the third topic, 3 quick YouTube videos specifically about long straight punches. You can go to my YouTube page, Cedric Sports Training. Scroll down, look for the 3 videos: how to throw the jab, how to throw the 1-2, and how to throw the cross. Again, master the fundamentals. Seems pretty straightforward. If you can master the fundamentals, everything else will be easier. Yeah, that's it for today. The next big fight we got coming up is September 28th, Errol Spence versus Sean Porter. Yeah, so look out for that one. All right, check me out on all social medias, Cedric Sports, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Yeah, all of that. Shout out to Win City Sports. Catch y'all soon. Peace.